Good board game evening, everybody. I hope you can hear me all right. I have been playing around with that audio ducking again, so hopefully the music is getting quieter when I speak and that I'm not shouting in your ears, which is a common problem I have, although my mic doesn't seem to be getting very loud, so let me move it a little closer there. Hopefully that's all right. We are going to play a solo round of Too Many Bones tonight. I'm not feeling 100%. I'm a little bit tired, which is why, by the way, I wear these glasses sometimes, because I don't need them to play this, but look at those bags under my eyes. So the glasses help hide them. It's a little vain, right? Oh, well, let's move on. What I've done is I've left the setup of the TTS mod that we use for Too Many Bones quite often. And I wanted you guys to be able to see just how amazing it is. So basically what I'm going to do is zoom in on our setup board. So right away we have every single character you can get in Too Many Bones, including some that aren't even out yet. I don't know Static or Polaris or Carcass or Figment. They're all, I think, Gale. And then we get into the ones that I'm more familiar with. So, but we're sticking a little bit simpler tonight. We're going to play Ghillie. Ghillie, I find, is really, really good to solo with because he can bring out pets. Now, the pets, I find, don't actually do a whole lot of damage whatsoever, but they do act as really good meat shields, so it's an option. Ghillie also has some pretty cool skill lines with his arrows. So multi-shot is a good one, which can hit multiple enemies if you roll it properly. There's a whole line of traps that I have never used before, so I don't even know how good it is or not. Let me just turn something off here. There we go. It's something I've thought of, but I don't know enough about that I'd want to try it solo. We are going to fight, let's see if I can find him here, Drellen Paleface, who is still one of the shorter tyrants. Can be difficult, though. If you look down at the bottom left of his card there, you can see the types of baddies that he will bring out. So the mushroom-looking ones are bog. And the problem I have with bog sometimes is they can poison, and poison is just a nasty effect to get on you. Great effect to put on them, but I don't believe Ghillie has any poison abilities. And I believe the one in the middle are orcs. I could be wrong on that. It's a spearhead. And then beasts. So those will be things like wolves and bats and things like that. We won't be fighting any kobolds or dragons because he doesn't have the scale thing. We have to make 6 progress in order to challenge him, which is the 6 on the top. Looks like a gear cog or something. And then we have 10 days to do it. So I've had some questions recently about what the days mean. So days mean you have to make those 6 progress and you have a maximum of 10 days to do it in. A day, every time we flip over an encounter card and do what the encounter says, that's a day. Days can buy you, if we get good cards, we can get all kinds of things like skills and you know, things like that. So sometimes you don't want to rush and challenge that tyrant right at 6 days, because you can spend another day or two getting more skills. However, every time you take another day, the queue of baddies that you're going to face during a battle is going to get bigger and bigger. So there's a balance, but we'll hit it when we get there, hopefully. I am playing with what I refer to as the 3-strike rule. So if Ghillie is KO'd 3 times before it doesn't matter if we got to the boss, the big tyrant, or not, Ghillie is going to pass out and not wake up, and we will end our stream at that point. So hopefully we don't get to anything like that. If you are watching on the replay on YouTube, I do appreciate it. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Because I'm supposed to say that. I don't know, but sure, why not? If you're watching live on Twitch, I appreciate you being here. Please give me a follow if you haven't already. And let's move on. So this is it's a pretty comprehensive mod for Too Many Bones in Steam on Tabletop Simulator. But we're going to just do this setup. So we've chosen our baddie. We've chosen who we're going to play, and we're playing true solo. Now, Too Many Bones is a game that scales really well. So some people like to play two-handed solo. I'm not at that skill level yet, so we're going to play true solo, and we are going to hope for the best. So the first thing we're going to do is spawn our player board. And we can go take a look here. I love this mod because it does like if you look at, you can even see the texture of the neoprene mat that's made to look like cloth. So down here at the bottom, I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough for anyone that isn't too familiar with Too Many Bones. Ghillie, you can see right here, is a ranged character, which means we will be able to go, I'll do that in a second. We will be able to go start our off on the range spots, give us a little distance. We start off with a health of 4 and an attack value of 2, which means we can roll a 2 attack die without increasing that stat at all. Dexterity of 3. Now, dexterity in Too Many Bones is kind of the crucial stat as far as how many things you can do on a turn. Generally, everything you want to do, whether it be movement or rolling a die or rolling multiple dice, takes a dexterity. So that's a stat to watch. Now, Ghillie starts off with 3, which is kind of okay, but she starts off with 0 defense. Defense are, I guess you can look at them like shields. You put up shields so that if a baddie does hit you, it's going to take away from that defense first before it actually damages you. So she's got moderately low health. He's got moderately low health and no defense. So it might be something we want to look at. And we can tell a little bit more about that by looking down on the sheet here. Each character, which is a gear lock in Too Many Bones, comes with this little section that tells you beginner build strategy. They're pretty good strategies. It wants us to grab a pet, right, ASAP. It's saying we need at least 1 defense to start off with, get HP up to 5 or 6, then switch to dexterity so he can keep up with his pet maintenance. So what we are going to do is we're going to play on, I'm going to zip up to the book here and go to page 23 because I've memorized this so you guys can see. It'll take a second to load. There we go. And you can see there's 3 different levels you can play on. Highly recommended that when you're first starting things out to start on Adventurer. So Adventurer is going to allow us to add 2 to our Gearlock's HP stat before starting. And we're going to gain 1 training point right off the bat. If we are KO during an adventure, any dice in our lock slots remain, whereas in the other 2 modes, you would lose them when you get knocked out. So looking back at our sheet here, we are going to grab our 2 extra health and put them in there and make sure we increase our chips. This stuff over here is built into Tabletop Simulator. You wouldn't see this in the normal physical game, which I do have and I absolutely adore. And the premium health chips are worth every penny. I'll get to that later. And here's our dice tray here. So we have a decision to make. We get a free skill. So for that skill, we could decide that we want to grab a pet. We could decide we want to get some kind of arrow skill. So we have different skill lines you can see here. And when you get a skill point, you can put them into any of the lines that have a star on them. So let's say, for example, this is a good quick thing to show. I really wanted to get Marked Enemy. Marked Enemy is a great die to have because later on in the game, it allows you to double your damage of any attack you make. But you can see that that line of skills, which I believe is called the, I want to say Ranger skills, you have to start right there. So we have to start with multi-arrow, and then the next time we put a skill point in, we need to put it in Brute Buster in order for the next time we get a skill point to put it in Marked Enemy. I don't particularly like Brute Buster, but I love Marked Enemy, so in order to get it, you kind of have to waste a skill point. It's not wasted, it's just not a skill I particularly like. It allows you to push baddies in a particular direction when you roll your dice. So you can see we have a traps line. Now the traps, you can start with any of those 3 traps, and you can take 1 or you can take 3 or you can take none. It doesn't matter. Multi-arrow, the Ranger line. Multi-arrow allows you to roll a multi-arrow die, which may allow you to attack a second enemy when you roll. Piercing arrow, these do things with like go through armor, etc. And that is the marksman line. Is that what that is? Yeah, the marksman line. And then finally, you have your zoo linguist, which is basically your pet line. Now, the pets, you can have more than one pet, and you can choose anyone to begin with. I usually go for our Wolverine, whose name is Lilietti. And I like him because these guys are mostly meat shields. Like I said, they don't do a whole lot of damage, but he has a skill called Hardy. And Hardy means, which is an annoying one when you get it in a baddie that you're facing, but Hardy basically means that you're going to, he's only going to take 1 damage no matter how much they attack him. So a baddie's going to attack him, he rolls 3 damage, he's still only going to take 1. So he's good to have kind of as a shield to keep Ghillie alive. I honestly think, though, for our first skill, that's a good question. I think I'm going to play it safe and take defense. Now, normally, if you choose to increase your attack or defense, you have to make a skill check roll. So you can see I have 2 attack as my kind of innate power in attack. I would have to roll 2 attack dice and not get any bones in order for me to succeed on that skill check. And in defense, same kind of idea. Although defense, you can decide to, I believe, roll 1 more time, but attack you can't. It doesn't mean you lose the skill point that you're trying to put in. You just have to put it somewhere else. So that's kind of the dealio with attack and defense. You do not have to make a roll for health or dexterity, which is good. But I'm going to start by putting 1 in defense, and we do that by dragging it over and changing it to 1. So we will be able to, so we have a total of 3 dexterity, and this is a good example of dexterity here. We have 3 dexterity, we can roll 2 attack dice, and we can roll 1 defense die. So if we wanted to do that, it would take all 3 of our dexterity for that move, for that round, turn. So that's basically that. We have chosen, again, Drellen Paleface, and these are options in the Tabletop Simulator mod to put in all the other content. We are not doing that. We are sticking to the base game just so we can show everyone what that's all about. So let's confirm our selection and stand back and watch all the stuff happen. There we go. That's our battle mat and our adventure map. And it's putting all the dice out. And the nice thing about this, we'll take a look at Drellen's card again, is as I was mentioning before, you would generally pull out the baddies that correspond to those symbols on the Tyrant's card. So bog baddies and orc baddies and beast baddies. And those baddies would get separated into the 3 different piles here. We have our 1-point baddies, our 5-point baddies, and our 20-point baddies. God forbid we see any of those. Obviously, they're much harder as they go up in number. And you always play to the higher number. So let's say we're told by a card that our baddie queue is our baddie points for whatever day we're on, and it's 6. Well, you wouldn't take 6 1-point baddies. You would take a 5 and a 1. Same thing if you had 12, let's say. You would take 2 5s and 2 1s to make 12. You always go to the higher chips as much as possible. And again, so it's already done the selecting for us, which is the nice thing about the mod. It's only picked out from all the baddies available, the bog, the orc, and the beast baddies, and it's placed them all in here. This is our discard piles. It'll do that all automatically. These are the health tips. It'll help us set that up automatically. But why don't we go ahead and head out? I think that would be time to do that, right? There's a lot of neat things built into Tabletop Simulator, which I'll explain as we go. I'm going to change my health angle so you can see it better. Same with any of the pets I happen to bring out. Did I click that? There we go. We have automatic dice rollers built into this mod, which is quite wonderful. I like them a lot, basically. And same with the baddies up there, we have automatic dice rollers. So the way Too Many Bones works, the structure of a round is we are going to have an encounter. So right now we are, if you look over on the map here, we are in the small city of Obendar, which is where we live, the Gearlocks, as well as some other races. Gearlocks are built and bred adventurers. They like to go out and look for treasure and beat things up and try and rid the world of the really big baddies. You can see Drellen is way up here in the Shale Fist. So We need, again, if you remember, I showed 6 progress. It tells us down here on these built-in progress trackers to get all the way up there and challenge them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and challenge. Normally in the physical game, you could use this dial to track your days like that. But we are going to use the built-in day counter for us so that we try not to forget. It's one of the things I'm not great at. I tend to forget. So let's do our first encounter. What do you think? Hey there. Nice to meet you. It is so much fun. I am terrible at watching chat at the same time. I'm very new to this, so I apologize if I miss chat sometimes, but I will do my best to remember to look over. Thank you for joining me. Let us go here. All right. So again, these are the standard cards. The first 3 cards, if you look down on the bottom of the card there, it says base set special 001. There's always 3 kind of special encounters to start off the game. These are the 3 that come with the base game. If you're able to add in, and thank you for the follow, by the way. If you're able to add in like 40 Days in Daylore or Age of Tyranny, a lot of them come with additional cards you can mix in, but I've left them to the base one. So let's read what's going on. Leaving Obendar. Only 12 hours till dawn and the send-off ceremony that will no doubt change the lives of every remaining Gearlock. That's us. And likely every life in Daylore. Weapons and supplies are ready to go, but the night is young and adrenaline fills the veins. It's clear no sleep will be had tonight. There's sure to be some shady peddlers in dark alleys ready to deal in loot. Then again, some last-minute training could pay a nice dividend by morning. So, what to do? What to do? Now, encounter cards in Too Many Bones generally have a choice, not always, but generally have a choice on the back that you have to make. So let's take a look. So you can see by that odd looking spidery symbol, I don't know what else to call it, that's on both choices on the far right. Those are non-battle choices. A battle choice would have a shield and swords crossed on it, which we will see probably shortly. So basically, either way, we're going to make a choice, and we're not going to have a fight this time around. Down in the bottom left corner, you can see that we will get 1 progress, regardless of which choice we make. And obviously, because this is an encounter card, once we finish it, we advance the day to the next day. So choice number 1 is to squeeze in some last-minute self-improvement. So we would get 2 training points, which are nice. Choice number 2 is shake down a shady peddler. Gain 1 training point. Each party member may draw 2 loot and choose 1 to keep. Well, I'm the only party member today, but I've always been told and found the training points are generally better than loot, particularly when we're just setting off on our adventure. So I think I'm going to go with choice number 1, squeeze in some last minute self-improvement and do our training points. However, before I do that, I'm going to zip over here and do the 2 things we need to do that I don't want to forget to do. So we're going to advance the day, because technically you're supposed to do that after you complete whatever training points or whatever you're doing. And we're going to advance the progress, which should advance the progress marker for us. There we go. And now let's take a look at what we're going to do for training points. So I'm tempted to put 1 in attack and 1 in dexterity, but I'll yield to any advice anyone has. But I don't really want to start building my lines of different skills yet. It's tempting to take the Wolverine right off the bat, but we kind of have very low stats at the moment. I don't know. But what about if we do a dexterity and darn it, I just don't know. How about a dexterity or an attack in the Wolverine? Ah, geez. Nope. See, there's too many choices. Too many bones. Too many choices. Let's do a dexterity. Let's just commit ourselves to something there. Dex plus Wolverine, not a bad choice. Yeah, I would probably agree with that. So let's do that. So let's put our dexterity in. I do not have to roll, and we are going to put the Wolverine in. He's my favorite little guy, little Yeti, and we're going to plug him in there. So quick note about pets. Like I said, they are not the best added damage. I mean, they generally do 1 damage or something around there. They are great meat shields, and the Wolverine having Hardy is even better. But I'm going to zoom in on the dice here. So it would cost me 1 dexterity out of my 4 to roll this dice at any given battle. And then you can see the different sides here. So side 1 is a bones, meaning I could use it as a bones, or I could put it back in here to try and use it on another turn. Side 2 is a bones. So that's 2 out of 6 sides that are bones. Side 3, you can see here some interesting stats. So bottom left corner, can I make that bigger? A little bit. Bottom left corner, you can see he has a total of 2 health, which means, again, he's hardy. He's only going to take 1 damage at a time, but after 2 damage, he's exhausted for the rest of the battle. He does 1 damage if he wants to move and attack somebody, but he costs 1 of my dexterity to activate on any given turn. Now, the way I've been playing this, and I have checked around and read around, to activate him, to in other words, to bring him out, it costs me to roll this die initially. To have him attack costs a dexterity, but to have him absorb damage does not cost a dexterity. So basically, I could technically bring him out and just leave him there as a meat shield. Poor guy. Moving on to side 4, you can see they're basically the same. 2-1-1, 2-1-1. 3-1-1, so that's side 5, so he'll have 3 health. It still costs a dexterity to activate and do 1 damage. And our 6th side is the good side. 3 health, 1 damage, and costs no dexterity at all. So, but again, you're 1 in 6 odds to roll that. We're going to put it back where it should be. And we've now taken our dexterity. Oh, one other point about bringing in a pet. And again, anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. When you bring them in, so I roll this dice, I get a successful roll, I bring him in, he doesn't do anything until my next turn, and he will go before me. So those are what we're going to do for our 2 skill points on that encounter card. I'm pretty happy with that, so thank you for the advice, and thank you. I'm glad. I'm learning the rules. It's taken me a while. I don't consider myself terrible at the game anymore. I do consider my rolling luck terrible. I've had some games that last such a short time, it's laughable. I'm just going to have a sip of tea here. Okay, keep my voice going. Let us do our second encounter and see what we get. Hardly out of the gate. 15 steps into the journey, 15 steps, and already a gearlock boot is struck through by an arrow. Luckily, no toes were killed. Teeth are clenched and a painful tug is made while looking around in embarrassment. Youch! I added the ch sound in there. Now, sufficiently ticked, it's time to return the favor to the ominous figures at the edge of the woods. A commotion breaks out atop the city wall, interrupting all thoughts. Guards have now spotted the brazen intruders and are notching their arrows. Their help is at the ready. Like it or not, this adventure is underway. All right, sounds like a battle. And there are our 2 choices. Again, you can now you can see those battle symbols I was referencing earlier. And you can see either choice we make, we're going to have a battle. So looking down at the very bottom of the card, after either choice, if the battle is lost, place this encounter back on the top of your encounter deck, meaning we're going to pull it again next time. So if we get KO'd, we're going to be right back making the same choice again. If we are successful, though, no matter which choice we make, bottom left, we're going to get a progress towards challenging Drellen. We're also going to get a training point and a loot. And if we had multiple people in our party, each of us would get a loot. That's why there's 3 chests there. The 3 is not locked. It just means everyone gets a loot. So we're going to get a progress, a training, and a loot regardless, as long as we're successful in the battle. The first choice up at the top, hail the guards for help. Our baddie queue is going to be made up of baddie points, which I will explain in just a second. At the start of each round, the arrows from the wall deal 1 true damage to each baddie. Now, true damage means no matter what defense they have stacked on top of them that they've rolled or whatever, true damage will circumvent that and still damage them. It's recommended for first-time adventurers. Excuse me. So basically, the guards behind us are going to help us. However, if you see the blank empty circle up there, it means we're not getting any bonus. So we can still be successful. We're still going to get a progress, a training point, and a loot, but we're not going to get a bonus. Choice number 2, you see that circle has a training point in it. We're going to get a bonus training point if we do that, and we're successful. It's time to show Obendar what gearlocks are made of. With Obendar watching, you feel an extra shot of adrenaline as you prepare for an unassisted battle. Now, I was gonna say I'm feeling lucky, but I'm not. But I'm still gonna choose the second choice for that extra training point. It's just too tasty to resist. Now let me explain the BQ or baddie queue or battle queue. I'm not sure what the right mean. It's made up of baddie points in this case. You will see some cards that say baddie points plus something else. This is just baddie points. And the way baddie points work, if we look back at our day and our progress and all that, it's the number of days times the amount of gear locks. Well, there's only one of us. So our baddie queue is, or battle queue is going to be made up of 2 baddie points. So what that would mean is 2 1-point baddies. Option 2. Thank you. Sorry, I get distracted so easily. So we're going to have 2 1-point baddies. Now, there's an interesting thing that every gear lock gets to do. I'm going to zip over to the rules here. In between rounds, we can trade loot with the party. Not going to happen. We can make a lock picking attempt, and that's if we get a special kind of loot called trove loot, which I will only talk about if we get one. And then you have to choose one of these. You can't do all 3. So we can rest and recover. So if we've had a tough battle and we're down a bunch of health, we can rest and recover. But if we do that, we can't search for better loot. So we could discard a loot, roll 6 attack dice, and for every bones we roll, we can look at a loot card and keep 1. But if we do either of those 2 things, we can't do the third one and scout the area. Now, scouting can be super duper important. Scouting lets us look at the top chip in the pile, whatever pile we choose once we roll that d6, as you can read there, and decide whether we want to keep it on the top so it's going to come out in the battle, or put it on the bottom so that hopefully it never comes out. Although, depending on how long you play, I guess it could come out anyway. Now, there's an interesting point about this. So in other words, if I need to rest and recover, I can't scout the area. But Ghillie, he has a very interesting innate power built in. He has an innate scout. So before battle, he can reveal a baddie in any stack. He doesn't have to roll a d6 to determine what he can look at. So theoretically, because it's the start of the game and it's our first battle and I'm at full health and I didn't need to recover anything, I can scout twice. So let's do that. So we're going to take a look. Again, we're going to get 2 1-point baddies. We're going to scout the top one. This is a great mod, you'll see. So we're going to scout it. And my least favorite type of enemy that I've encountered, well, there's one worse, but we'll hopefully never have to talk about break. This is a bog frog. So he has 4 health. That's what the 4 in the top left means. And he has 3 initiative. Initiative determines the order of who gets to go when we start the battle. So he's not fast. He's not slow. He's kind of mid-pack. 4 health, decent amount of health. But he has no dice to roll. You would usually see something on the right-hand side that would tell you, can he roll an attack die? Can he roll a defense die? How many of each he can roll? He does not need to roll. He just targets and poisons. And if you remember me mentioning earlier, poison is bad. I can't defend against poison. I can't avoid poison. I have nothing I can do unless I got I remember there's a loot card that I think lets you discard a status effect, but chance of getting that's very, very slim. Poison is bad, especially in a battle like this where I don't have a lot of health yet. I haven't built up my character very much. I think what we're going to do is my choice. I'm putting him on the bottom. Now, there's lots more of bad guys in there. I don't want to peek, but we're going to put him to the bottom. And then I'm going to take my second scout and see what we get. Oh, the one I hate worst. Oh my lord, this is a bad start to the game. This is a clay golem. He has 5 health. He's very slow, only has 2 initiative. So he's going to generally go, near last. And he gets to roll 1 attack die. But his special skill is called break. Oh, I should mention that you can tell on the bottom left, he's a melee character with the crossed swords. If there was a bow and arrow there, he's a ranged character. And he targets strongest. Now, targeting is a bit odd in Too Many Bones. It took everyone probably 2 or 3 reads of the rules and internet clarification about target priorities, etc. If there were multiple people playing, multiple players playing gear locks, and generally their melee characters will move to the closest gear lock first, and then switch that targeting priority, which you can see the guy showing off his biceps in the little target thing in the center. So if there was one character one space away that had 4 health and another one of us one space away that had 6 health, he's going to go for the stronger of the two if he's equidistant, if it's a tie. However, it's just closest, but we're just playing single player, so it doesn't matter. He's always going to go for me. So let's talk about Break. Break is his skill. Break is a terrible, horrible, awful skill. It makes poison look like daisies and sunshine. Okay, I might be exaggerating. What Break means is he's going to break my weapons or arrows or whatever I have. So if I use regular attack dice to attack him, they are gone for the rest of that battle. So if you remember my stats, let's take a look down below. My stats is I can roll 2 attack dice and I have 3 dexterity. So if I roll 2 attack dice against him, whether they hit or miss, they're gone till the end of the battle. I can't roll any more attack dice. So Break guys like that really are trying to tell you to use your skills, whether it be pets or a poison or something else. Use your skills to attack them because they don't get exhausted and taken away, although skills, once used, generally get exhausted. We're going to put them to the bottom and do a lot of praying to whatever deity you believe in that we don't get another break, because I can't scout anymore. I can't see what's happening. So let's go set up our baddie queue. This mod has an awesome built-in baddie queue setup, so we can play around with some of the options. But right now, as I mentioned before, it's day 2. There's 1 of me. Our baddie queue, or battle queue, is 2. So it's going to build it based on taking 2 chips from there. I'll just zoom out a bit so you can watch this all happen and build our queue. So it's grabbed those first 2 chips. Now we're going to tell it to set up. It's going to take them, set them up with whatever health they have, and put them on the battlefield. Okay. Oh. All right. Well, let's take a look at the first one we got here. So this is a ranged goblin bomber. 3 health, so he's not that tough, but he is quick. He's got 5 initiative, and if you look on the right, he can roll 1 attack die every time. He has 2 skills. So if you look at the targeting at the bottom and the different icons, he's ranged, he targets everybody, and he's an orc. So I believe that's orc. I know it's a spearhead. It's not a troll, so I think it's the orc family. I always get it wrong, but targeting, again, not a big deal because it's just me playing. But he has 2 skills. One of them, which I always find funny, is called Careless. So on his turn, if he makes his roll and he gets a bones, he hurts himself. So you got to kind of picture him, whatever he's trying to lob at me, he lifts up his arms to throw it and it falls on his head and bonks him real good. But Mischief 1 is a bit of an annoying one. At the end of his turn, is it the end? Yes, at the end of his turn, I have to look that up. He's going to remove 1 defense die, or something that I have locked in. So let's go look at the rules, because that's what you do in Too Many Bones. Boop. And we'll look up, see, this is necessary. These are all the different skills the baddies can have here. So I like to refer to it when I'm not 100% sure, so nobody can say that I'm not, playing it right. So you can see Mischief and the number. Well, he has 1. So remove 1 dice, my choice, from my active slot. So I could have a great defense die in there and he ends up taking it away. And I believe he does it, the only thing I'm not sure is if he does it at the beginning of his turn. So if I'm trying to defend, I'm now wide open, or I'm pretty sure he does it at the end of his turn. If anyone is watching and can tell me, that would be great. So that's where we are. And now you can see on there, we've talked about their initiative. So this guy, the slow guy, oh, and by the way, we did get the poison, a different poison guy. So I think, unfortunately, my target priority has to be him, because that's going to hurt. We might not even make it past this first round. And we put his die there because we know he's faster. And then I have to go grab, which I should have done earlier, my apologies, my initiative die. And each battle, not each turn, but each battle, we roll this die to see where we're going to fall. So I got a 4, which means no matter what, I have to go second. So unfortunately, this guy in lane 1, which is our Mischief 1 and Careless Goblin Bomber, he's going to go first. So it would have been nice to be able to go first, but at least we go before the poison guy. So here we go. And this is kind of how you play it. Round 1, we got our order established. We move who's going first up to the top. And then looking again at his chip, we can see all he does is roll 1 attack die. And this mod again has these beautiful dice rollers built in. You can see a defense die. He doesn't get any of those. He gets 1 attack die, and it's going to roll it for us. We just have to click on the number. And he rolls 1 damage. So there is not a whole lot I can do. I don't have anything slotted in at the moment for him to remove anyway. You know what? I didn't put myself on the board, did I? I'm going to go over in the corner here. And I'm going to take a damage right away. So I'm down to 5 out of 6. Makes me glad I took that extra HP because I'm not a good player. So I'd rather just try and be a tank even though I'm not a tank. But that is the end of his turn. Now we are going to go. And we have some we have some choices to make. I do have a neurological problem with my hands, so sometimes you'll see the mouse kind of fly away on me. I apologize for that, but I'm getting used to it now. So we have a total of 4 dexterity. We have 2 attack, 1 defense. Again, we can't defend against poison, so the only one we can defend against is that dude up there. We can't defend against this bog frog. He's ugly. So I'm thinking, I got a total of 4. I can roll my 2 attack, my 1 defense, that's 3, and my Wolverine and try and get my guy out there. Because this guy targets the strongest. Okay, so he's still going to target me no matter what. And this guy targets everybody. So that doesn't really, you know what, that doesn't help me. But I don't have any other dice to roll anyway, so let's have some fun. Rolling our defense single die, and we get a bones. Now, generally, I have 1 defense. So let's say I did get a successful defense here and I locked it in for defense. I wouldn't be able to roll a defense die next time. However, because I'm using it as a bones, it's not counted against me. I'll still be able to roll on my next turn 1 defense. And we're going to roll our 2 attack dice. Let's hope we get a better roll than that bones. Okay, not too bad. We got 3. Oh, by the way, I'm calling a target. I'm supposed to call a target before my turn. I am targeting that bog frog. So we got 3 damage, and now let's roll our Wolverine. And which one do we get? Okay, so we got kind of the middle level one. Let's activate him. Again, he can't do anything this turn, but we will bring him onto the mat. He has to go adjacent to me, and again, that's adjacent is a common and an important thing to remember about Too Many Bones. Adjacent is orthogonal only, so there are a few exceptions where baddies can move diagonally, but generally everything is adjacency. So I can't place him here, for example. I have to place him here or here. I'm going to place him there just for fun, and I got to give him some health now, so let's do that. Oh, I didn't see what my dice said. I'm assuming it's 2 health. Yeah, 2 health. So let's give him his 2 health. All right, Little Yeti. Isn't he cute, everybody? Little Yeti. All right, well, that didn't do much, but we do have 3 damage. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, it does not... Oh, wait, what does my bones do? Oh, switch target. So it doesn't let me add damage or anything. So it unfortunately does not let us kill him, but he is down to 1 health. I guess that's pretty much all I could expect. It would be nice to get 2 2s, but I don't roll that well, so I don't roll that way. And now, unfortunately, he's going to go, and he's going to target the strongest, which is me. Oh, he can't poison me yet. So he's actually going to poison Lil Yeti. Because he's melee, he has to move, unlike this guy. And he's going to move, again, target priority is always closest, then whatever his target thing says. So he's going to move 1, 2, and very sadly for Lil Yeti, he's going to get poisoned. And now I'll explain poison to you. No, it's the wrong one. So he's poison 2, yes. So he's going to poison Lil Yeti for 2, which means on Lil Yeti's next turn, he's immediately going to take 2 damage, which will kill him. Because again, even though he has that hardy skill, poison ignores that. Generally, if he had more points, he would take 2 damage, and then his next turn, it would tick down to 1. He'd take 1 damage, and then it would come off. But I guess that's not a terrible thing. I'm sorry, Lil Yeti. You're going to get knocked out with that bog frog poison. We are going to move to round 2. And we're going to reset our initiative. I don't need to take them all the way down there. And once again, our dude here is going to target both of us. And he's going to roll 1 attack die, and maybe he'll get a bones and hurt himself, right? We got to hope for the best. All right, he hits for 1, which means he is going to take out 1 because he's hardy. I have no defense still, so he's going to take another one off of me. So we are down to 4 out of 6, and things are looking iffy, I'll tell you that. And now I'm going to go. Now before me, my pet goes, my companion goes. So sadly, he's going to take his 2 damage, which he only has 1 left anyways, and he is reset off the playing field. And we're going to, whoops, we're going to grab that die and put it back up there. And why did I give him health? There we go. Sorry, Yeti. Next time, but I appreciate you taking the fall for me, buddy. And now I'm going to go. I'm once again targeting this guy to try and get him off the field. So let's go down and see what we're going to do. I can't roll. Oh, this is now exhausted. That's my little Yeti. So I'm going to roll 2 attack and 1 defense. Even though I have 4 decks, I don't have anything else I can roll. So let's do that. Okay, so we got 2 attack. I'm slotting in this defense because it doesn't hurt. And we do kill our bog frog. So he's done. Sadly, that second attack. Now let's read what switch target does. So I didn't explain this earlier, but bones, even though you didn't get what you wanted generally, are never a waste. They go into what's called your backup plan. And each character has different backup plans. Ghillie's has switch targets. If he gets 2 bones, he can use the 2 to split his targets, fortunate discovery, etc. And those are all just explained right here. So switch targets. Select a new target before applying any dice. Okay, I see. So if I had rolled like some specific roll that would have been better on a different baddie than the one I called target on, I can switch it. But that doesn't unfortunately do anything for us right now. And that's the end of our turn. So we are actually very quickly moving to round 3 here and resetting our positions. And he is going to go once again. He's going to target me because that's all there is, ladies and gents. And he's going to roll his 1 attack die. So let's do that and see what he gets. He hits for 1. Now, thankfully, his mischief doesn't come into play. Well, it will now, I guess. So my 1 defense absorbs it, and then the mischief skill that he has takes it away. So I don't have that, and but I didn't take any damage, which is good. And now I'm going to go, and we're going to throw everything we possibly can at our friend, the Goblin Bomber. Now I'm ranged, by the way. That's why I didn't have to move to attack, just to remind everyone of that. I'm rolling the exact same roll again because I don't have a choice. 1 defense, 2 attack, and we hit for 3. And he has 3. Victory! We won that battle, so we took him out. I like to do my maintenance first, so I'm getting rid of any die. Obviously, you wouldn't delete these in real life. You'd take them out. We get to return our skill dice that were exhausted, so little Yeti's automatically going to go back there. And I'm going to take my initiative die out, and we'll reset this back to round 1 for whatever our next battle is. And we're going to pull ourselves off the mat. So before I do anything else, we're going to look at our card again. So we chose choice number 2, which gives us, in combination with the stuff at the bottom, 2 training points, a loot, and a progress. So let's do plan, rather. Oh, right, yes. Can I keep the die in the backup plan? I didn't think we could carry those over. I did not know that. All right, I'll take your word on it. I'll check it later just to be sure, but I'll take your word on it. All right, sorry. Let's advance our day because I'll always forget. We do get a progress point. And we'll start by taking our loot. So let's take our loot down to our little loot spot. You can have a total of 3 loot cards. That's cool. Okay. We got a sparring weapon, which is a permanent. Okay, so this actually has the thing I was about to explain. So like I was saying, you can have 4 loot cards. This one allows me to ignore a bones during any of my training attempts, and it stays with me, which is awesome. But it's heavy. If you see that heavy, it means it takes 3 spots. So theoretically, I could only have 1 more loot card because this guy is here, here, and here, wherever you want to say it. Not a bad one to have. I may decide to trade it away later or see what we're doing. But for now, we're going to keep it. We have it. And now we have our 2 training points. And I am going to start down the ranger line for one of my training points. So let's grab that. And we want multi-arrow, which is die number 5. So it's easy. You just come down and look here. There's die number 5. I'm going to drag that up into our multi-arrow spot. So that's my first. What are we going to do for a second? I think we desperately need to raise our attack. So I need to roll 2 attack dice to, why did I say that weird? 2 attack dice to not get any bones, although I do have that permanent card to get rid of 1 bone. So hopefully we don't get any, but if I get 1, I'm still okay. We didn't get any. We're good. So I'm going to put my final extra attribute die into attack. Move it to 1, so I now have a total of 3 attack, still 1 defense, 6 health still, and 4 dexterity. So it gives us 1 more option. I think I'm going to look for dex next time we do that, though. I'm going to recover back up to my full 6, which means I've chosen the recovery, so I can't do that normal scout that you would do. Although again, Ghillie has that innate scout. So we will do that if faced with a battle next time. But I think we are good to go to our next encounter. Yep. How you get your innate +1. Okay. I'll take your word. I won't refuse it. I've never played it that way, so I've been handicapping myself. Okay, fair enough. Let's go to our next encounter and see what it is. Crossing the Cibron. The Cibron River, a glistening vein of trade running the length of Daylor, playfully beckons as it shimmers in the daylight up ahead. But with so few bridges in these parts, this crossing is an obvious spot for enemy scouts and traps. A journey of this importance leaves only 2 options. Tucking the ears and trying to blend in is risky, but efficient. A boat at dusk carries less chance of discovery, but requires business with the Molnor, a trading syndicate with their own set of drawbacks. All right, we have 2 choices here. I remember this one well. So neither of them are battle choices, but there's consequences. So if you look down at the bottom of the card again, we're going to get a progress regardless of which one we choose. You can see the encounter success is achieved no matter the outcome. You can see that on the first choice. The second choice, we would have to shuffle a card into our encounter deck. Let's read the first choices. Tuck your ears and walk like a commoner. We need to roll a d6 for each party member, so just us. If we get 1 to 2, we are spotted. Find the first Tyrant encounter in your deck and place it on top. Shuffle the remaining cards and keep them underneath. We're successful no matter what, but it means we're going to have an early encounter with Drellen. Is it Drellen? Drellen Paleface. Yeah, sorry, almost forgot that. We're going to have an early encounter with him, and you never know what that's going to hold. It's never a good thing. It's not a final encounter. It generally means he's going to come in and then run away at some point. But it can be a tough battle. However, we are going to get a bonus progress and a training point if we choose to do that. I don't know. Second choice is hire the Molnor. The Molnor are surprisingly easy to work with. Not only do they drop us safely on the east bank of the river under the cover of darkness, they also offer trove loot gift, a trove loot gift. Maybe our success is good for business. So a trove loot is that other type of loot, generally pretty powerful stuff, although I've gotten some real duds, but you have to lockpick that. So one of the things we would have to do in between our turns is we have to keep trying to lockpick it, which I would show you how to do if I was going to choose that, which I am not. We are going to roll the d6 badly and see what happens. Let's go do that. So remember that on any 1 to 2, we're spotted and we have to find the Tyrant encounter and place it on top. I guess if we're not spotted, we just get the rewards and move on to the next. I guess we get the rewards either way, and we move on to the next encounter. So let's see. I can't blow on it from here, but I'm going to try and do a double roll, which in Tabletop Simulator isn't easy. There we go. 6. Hey, what do you know? So we are not spotted. We get our bonus progress. So 2 progress, still a day. So 1 day, 2 progress, and a training point. But that's pretty good. Let's go take a looky here. So we'll do our day. We'll get our 2 progress. We'll let it do its little flippy thing there. So we are only 2 progress away from being able to challenge Drellen, but we also don't have a lot of skills yet, so not rushing. I'm not rushing either, but I'm not rushing. And we get a training point, so let's go have a look. Do I want to go Brute Buster and start moving towards that marked enemy? Maybe advisable. Maybe advisable. I don't really intend to go traps. Piercing Arrow can be okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go Brute Buster, which is die number 6. Now, Brute Buster, I'm going to go down to the sheet so you can see what both Marked Arrow and Brute Buster do. We don't get a second training point there, so that's where we're putting our training point. So looking down here, if we look down, excuse me, I'm trying to zoom in so you get to see it. It's not the easiest to see. Brute Buster right there. So there are 6 dice, 6 sides, and each side will let you push a baddie in either stuck moving it in only that direction or a choice of directions. So multi-arrow has 1 side that's a bones, 3 sides that have the number 1 on multi-arrow, and 2 sides that have the number 2 on multi-arrow. So what that means is I'm allowed to use 1 of my attack dice, no matter how many I roll, and I can apply that attack dice to a second baddie. So if I roll 3 attack dice and I roll a 2 and 2 1s, let's say, and I've rolled this dice as a die as well, I'm going to get to choose one of those 3 attack dice to apply to a second baddie. Obviously, I'm going to choose the 2. But if I roll a 2, one of those 2 sides, I get to choose 2 of my dice to apply to a baddie. So it can be a pretty good one. But you can see right here, this is the one I'm going for, marked enemy. So 2 sides are a bones, but the rest of the sides are all double damage. And in our last game we played on Tabletop Simulator, a good friend of mine, Black Sheep, we got right to the Tyrant encounter. I wasn't sure we were going to be able to do it. And on his first shot, he rolled an insane amount of damage and took out Mulmesh, who was the Tyrant at the time, in 1 shot, and it was over. It was a fantastically awesome but anticlimactic ending to the game, I guess. But anyway, it's a very good dice to have. So that's what I'm striving for, to get that on a future skill point now that we've unlocked Brute Buster as well. So we are now going to, are we moving on? I didn't get damaged, so that's good. I didn't have to scout. So now, because we've advanced the day and we're going to a new encounter, I can get my 2 scouts if I want, depending on what we get. Let's have a look. The Sky Bridge. Oh, it's a cakewalk. Now, again, if you look down at the bottom of the card, you can see this is a specific solo card. Set up for too many bones once you know what you're doing is not that bad, but for the first few times it can be, kind of confusing. If you're playing true solo, which I am with 1 gear lock, there's a separate set of cards that you mix in to the encounter cards, which you wouldn't mix in a multiplayer game, obviously. So, the Sky Bridge, it's a cakewalk. At least that's what I tell myself as I hang on for dear life. 1,000 arrow lengths up in the sky. That's not good. Unfortunately, this ancient rope bridge connecting the 2 mountain ridges is more ancient than it is bridge. There's an unknown party on my tail and a trading post waiting beyond the ridge ahead. Only seconds remain to make one of 2 ill-advised choices. I could turn and fight on this tangle of rotting rope and wood. The other option, hightail it to the other side while dodging arrows from behind. If I make it, I can cut the ropes and send my pursuers on a one-way trip to the bottom of the canyon. But let's see what we're going to get. 2 choices. Choice number 1 is a battle choice. Again, you can see the crossed swords and shield. Choice number 2, spidery thing. I have no idea what it is. It's non-battle choice, but let's read them in order. So, going down to the bottom of the card, you can see if we survive these encounters, we're going to get a progress point, which is great, and 2 training points. That's juicy, ladies and gents. I want those juicy training points. Choice number 1, our battle choices. Line them up and try not to throw up. Our baddie queue is made up of baddie points, which, if you remember, there's only one of us. We're on day 4, so we're going to have 4 1-point baddies at that point. But we have to add 2 baddie points to the total. So we would be at 6. That means 1 5-point baddie and 1 1-point baddie. 5-point baddies, oops, sorry about that, can be scary, but they're manageable. Multiplayer, I don't know about solo. Battle is restricted to lane 1 for both sides. Now that's interesting. We only fight 1 baddie at a time, and the remaining baddies wait in the queue. Okay. Not a bad choice. We would get a loot as our bonus if we do that. Choice number 2, scramble across and cut the bridge. Again, baddie points. That's interesting. So again, we would be at 4. Reveal the baddies. For every ranged baddie, roll 2 attack dice and remove that number of HP from me, from the gear lock. And then we'd have to survive. No, okay, so if worst comes to worst, they would, for every ranged baddie. Darn it. So now I have 2 scouts to use. Do I scout 2 1-points and take the... You know what? I'm going to go for the second choice, and that's not me being a chicken. That's me trying to think logically here. So I have 2 scouts. I'm going to scout the first 2 1-pointers, and if any are ranged, I'm going to put them on the bottom. Hope that makes sense. And that way, our risk is down to luck of the draw for the second 2 that we're going to reveal. So let's do that. So we're doing choice number 2. We have to look at we're going to draw 4 1-point baddies, but we get to look at the first 2 and choose. So let's go do that. We're going to scout our first one. He is ranged, so regardless, I don't care about his stats, he's going to the bottom. And we're going to scout our second one, who's melee. Oh, now that's interesting. We're going to return him to the top, even though he's a break, who I fear. We're not fighting them right now. This is all based on what the instructions say. So let's return him to the top. And then we're going to set up, and just make sure I'm reading this again. Set up the baddie queue. For every ranged baddie, roll 2 attack dice and remove the HP from the gear lock. Must survive. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So we're going to tell it, we're going to reset the baddie queue. We are now going to tell it to build the baddie queue and do a whole lot of praying that we don't get a whole bunch of ranged ones. We at least know the first one shouldn't be ranged. He is not, so we don't lose anything for that. Another melee, we don't use anything for that. Another melee, we don't lose anything for that. And 1 ranged. Okay, so we didn't have to set them up, I guess, with their health, but we'll clean them up in a minute. So we roll 2 attack dice and remove that number of HP from us. Okay, so we're going to roll 2 attack dice. Let's see what happens here. And that's a 2, so we're going to lose 2 HP. We survived. I don't really even have to put myself out. Well, I guess not, just for completionist's sake. I'll put myself out there. We only lose... Oh, I never recovered last time. Why was I down there? Anyway, we only lose 2 HP. We're fine. We're going to come back off the mat. And I'm going to use the built-in cleanup function to get rid of these guys. That was not bad at all. Not bad. I know I'm going to regret saying that. I love this TTS mod, by the way. And there we go. They are all gone. We do not have to fight them. That's not what the card says. There's no battle that happens. I do have to use my rest and recovery, though, because I lost 2 HP. There we go. I like that. Yeah, this mod is unbelievable. Like, seriously, really, really good. And the guy is very active. And if there's an error, there was an error that popped up a few times. Within a day, he had fixed it. It's really good. And Chip Theory loves it as well, so I don't feel bad. I own the base game. I don't feel bad about playing it on TTS, and they seem to encourage it. So, all right, let's look at what we did. So we don't get a bonus. There's nothing in the bonus circle, but we do get a progress. We're going to lose a day again, and we get 2 training points. So let's do our day. on day 5. 5 out of 6 progress. We're there. Almost. One more. And we get 2 training points. So you can bet I'm taking marked enemy right away. So we have our marked enemy. And then I'm going to do something up here. I think I'm going Dex. Yeah, I'd love that trove chest. I don't own everything. I own... I'm new to board gaming, really. Only about a year. But I fell in love with Too Many Bones by watching videos. And my wife, who's just an amazing person, found me a pre-owned but like brand new set in Toronto nearby on I think Facebook Marketplace. I can't remember what it was, which included the base set. Now it's the bigger box, but it's the newest of the bigger box before they switched to the smaller box. So it had the base set. It had 40 Days in Daylore. It had Age of Tyranny. It had 2 extra gear locks, and I'm having a hard time remembering. I think it was Ghillie and Tink. It had Ghillie and Tink for an amazing price, way cheaper than I ever could have ordered it from. We don't get free shipping here in Canada from Chip Theory, unfortunately, but this worked out awesome. She surprised the heck out of me, and she's not a board gamer, but she's fallen in love with it to the point where she went out and bought Nugget without even telling me because she wanted to play, and she loves playing Nugget. So that's where we are now. Such an amazing game. I mean, I backed Elder Scrolls, which was more money than I care to mention, because it seems like an even more accessible game based on the Too Many Bones system, kind of, sort of. And I can't wait to see that in a couple of years, or whenever, a year and a half, whenever that comes in. But oh, it's so worth it. And I laughed when people would talk about the premium health chips. These health chips up here are digital copies of the premium health chips. So the difference is the regular health chips that come with the base game are unweighted chips, whereas all like the character chips and the baddie chips have the metal weight inside. And I laughed because I said, who's going to buy upgraded health chips? And then I bought them and tried them, and there is no way I would ever play this game without them anymore. It's so snobby, isn't it? Like, all right, let's keep moving. You bought them too? No, you must have. So, and I should say the only thing I bought since then. So we have a couple more gear locks. I have gasket. I'm going to mute that because I got a cough. We got gasket and nugget, and I ended up getting undertow new, which I have not opened yet because I'm a bit of a completionist and I kind of want to go through all the tyrants and most of the gear lock combinations in the base game before I move into undertow. I know it is standalone, so I don't have to do it that way. That's just the way I want to do it. And one of these days I really want to take on the campaign mode and give that a shot. Sorry, I'm seem to be losing my voice, or it's been very chilly today. It's cold here, and I was out changing our snow tires to our summer tires. It finally got warm enough, although not today. I was standing, outside, and my hands froze. It was ridiculous. I don't have Hoplomachus. It really kind of looks cool. I don't have Burn Cycle. I don't have Cloudspire. Not sure I'm heading in that direction, but Too Many Bones was my grail game, and I'm happy with it. So Pacific Northwest, okay. Yeah. Here in north of Toronto, we had 4 days in a row of 80-degree temperature, and then it dropped down and we got snow again. It's so weird. We're all gonna die at some point. Okay, so I've taken, I believe, my first training point, and I was deciding where to put it, but I'm going to choose Dex. That's easy. So now I have 5 dexterity, and we are ready to move on to our next round. Hoplomachus, yeah, I've heard it, and I like playing solo games. That's the solo one, right? I think Remastered is the multiplayer, and Victorum is the solo, or do I have that reversed? Either way, they look really good. When I saw somebody set up with that awesome... I don't know what it is, like a chip holder that looks like marble and everything. Oh, that just looks so good. But stop it, because I'm not working right now and I just can't. So I have gotten my solo, because my wife is kind of a reluctant board gamer other than Too Many Bones and a few other choice ones. Vagrant Song is our first campaign game. She likes that one. I got into Final Girl recently, and I had backed it about a year ago and just got my Series 2 in. Over time, I've been picking up the odd box here and there from Series 1. I couldn't afford to buy both at the same time, if you know what I mean. I am now hooked on that game. It is an amazing game. There is no tabletop simulator version of it because Van Ryder Games is very anti letting anyone else play with it. No, the Series 2 stuff is good, but we watched one of our favorite content creators in the board game space is Jamie and Jeff from Foster the Meeple, and on Friday nights Jamie plays Final Girl generally, so she's played a few of the Series 2, including I can't remember what the episode's called, but it takes place at the Storybook Inn or something like that, and against the Big Bad Wolf, and she had a great game and it really went well. And then I did the exact same setup myself physically the next day, and I was dead, I swear to you, in 20 minutes. The roll, because the dice hate you in that game. The rolls were so bad. Anyway, keep going on too many balls. I'm losing my concentration. But yeah, it is good. It is good. Let's go on to our next encounter. All right. That's okay, man. No, that's okay. I just appreciate you being here. Between a rock and a hard place. Scaling down this rock cliff feels oddly different from the last shale I traversed. It exudes a strange warmth. Must be the altitude. After all, I've been descending all morning. Thankfully, solid footing is not far away. I briefly pause on a ledge to survey the valley and relocate the raiders I've been tracking. A quick glance back at the rock behind me reveals the rock looking back at me. Giant pieces of earth break free from the cliff's surface, and suddenly hollow, burning eyes are staring into my soul. Towering above me is an angry monstrosity, a golden golem. I think there's going to be some break here. Oof, we have 2 battle choices. Yike. Wow. So our choice, so again, down at the bottom, if we're successful in either battle, we're going to get a progress, we're going to get a training point, and we're going to get a loot, assuming we're successful. Choice number 1, no bonus. Fight it now. Our baddie queue is made up of 1 5-point baddie, a stone golem. So we'd have to search through our deck, which is easy enough to do, to find the stone golem. Choice number 2 is lead it to the raiders. You take off down the shale like a dire wolf with its tail on fire. A quick glance back tells you the golem is in pursuit. Now to get close enough to those raiders and then hide. So it's a full battle with baddie points, which at this point, I forget, we're on day 5, so our baddie points are 5, so we'd be fighting 1 5-point baddie. Search for the 20-point baddie golden golem. 20-point baddie. During battle setup, instead of your gear lock, use the golem to fight the baddies. While controlling the golem, use of its skills, attack, and defense dice is optional. The baddie is always added to the bottom of the baddie queue. At the end of round 3, your gear lock joins the battle. All remaining baddies, now including the golem, now target you. I'm going for choice number 1. Not even an option. Yeah, it's a tough call because there's a lot, it might be doable, but no, I'm going with choice number 1. Let's go find that stone golem and set him up. There's no point in me scouting because I'm not pulling any of those. So we got to go into the 5 stack and do a search and look for our golem. Stone golem, there he is. We'll pull him out, close our search up, and we will bring him down to the setup thingy. And we'll put him in the first lane like we're supposed to. And there he is. He is a 5-point. Oh my lord. A 5-point stone golem. Now I'm regretting this. He has 7 health and 3 initiative, so he's a little slow. He rolls 3 attack dice and 2 defense dice. He targets weakest. He is melee. And then he's corrosive, which I kind of remember, but I'll go look at it in a minute. And he has break. So again, any attack dice we roll, we're gonna lose. Let's go look at corrosive. If I can remember where I put it. Here we go. Corrosive. I'm not liking the sound of it. At the end of this unit's turn, all remaining defense dice in the target's active slots must be exhausted immediately. Well, at least they get to defend me if he attacks me. Oh boy. All right. We're going to play a game. And that game, not always possible to win, is called kiting. An old video game term, which means we're going to keep trying to run away as much as we can, because you can only move 2 towards me each time, and we're just going to try and somehow pick them down. I don't know how we're going to do this. I'm going to have to use my double damage almost right away. My multi-arrow does zip in this case, and he has 7, and I only have 3 to roll. So we have to bring out Lil Yeti. We're gonna, oh man, we're gonna use our marked enemy. We're gonna use our Brute Buster. 1, 2, 3. I have a total of 5. I can roll 3 attack. Oh, that's too many. Okay, so let's put the Brute Buster back. I'm going to roll all 3 of my attack dice, but then they're gone for the rest of the game. So this could be a very painful, horrifying game to play. But let's... Oh, wait. I do want to roll a defense dice, because that would be crazy, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do that. Start with our defense dice, which is a bones. I'll slot it. Doesn't do much for us at the moment. Roll our 2 attack dice, which are going to get exhausted if I decide to apply them. So that's 3. We would damage him if I get a good roll on that marked enemy. We would damage him for 6, and then these are gone. And then Lil Yeti is going to have to damage him. So here's hoping, guys. Let's do a good. Oh, that's the wrong button. Let's do a good roll here. Oh. Well, Lil Yeti comes out. Oops. Sorry about that. He was on the best possible side, so that's actually awesome. So we're going to activate Lil Yeti. It costs no dex to use. He has 3 health, but he's hardy, so let's put him here and give him his 3 health. He can't do anything this turn, but he can be targeted, so that's interesting. Because I didn't roll anything and it's just a regular bones, I can choose not to use this dice, which I am most definitely going to do. And I'm not using these because I would lose them. I'd only get 3 damage. We need a big roll, which we did not get. So, oh, you know what? I forgot to put all the initiative set up in. My bad. So there's 3. I don't even know if I was going first, but let's hope I get, well, even if I get a 3, I get to choose. Oh, I got a 6. Look at that. Oops, not on him. Okay, so that's it. So I think that's the end of my turn. I got a bones. I'm not applying the damage. I've put the marked enemy back in, and Lil Yeti is out. At this point, I should have rolled the Brute Buster because he's now going to come and attack Lil Yeti as he attacks weakest. 1, 2. So he is now, boy, he looks scary when you look at it like that, right? He's now going to attack Lil Yeti, who can only take 1 damage, with 3 attack dice and 2 defense dice. I guess better Lil Yeti than me, than Ghillie. Oops. Let's roll his defense dice. Double bones, which would mean if Lil Yeti had defense dice, which he can't, that would remove him. But this guy didn't get any extra defense, which is damn good. And he rolls 3 damage. Now Lil Yeti is only going to take 1 because he's hardy. That is what pets are for. And that's the end of his turn. That's the end of his turn. So we move to round 2. We're going to reset our initiative. This is pretty exciting, this one. I don't see a good outcome, but I'm kind of, I'm not pessimistic. I'm realistic. But anyhow, so it's going to be my turn again. The first thing Lil Yeti is going to do is chomp on him. And the break doesn't come into effect because he's not rolling any dice to do that. He just damages him for 1. And that's the end of Lil Yeti's turn. And now it's my turn. So at this point, we are going to basically try the same thing again without having to roll Lil Yeti's dice. So I'm going to roll my 1 defense die, 3 attack die, that's 4, and our double damage die, and hope for the best. So let's roll our defense first. What? What is it with the bones? Come on. Fortunate discovery. I don't know a lot about his consumables, but we'll look at that later. And let's roll our 3 attack die. Come on, all 2s. So 3. And if I do get this double and we decide to apply it, I believe that kills him because he's down to 6. That would be freaking fantastic. So let's roll our marked enemy die. Oh. Hey, it landed. So we got a total because of our double damage. Usually what you would do is put that on there, because if you're playing with multiplayer, you can put that on there and then have someone else attack him. Let's go. Exactly. So he's 6. He's dead. He's dead. I like to do this manually because it's fun to watch. Kaboosh. Nice. Wow. All right. Resetting our round counter. And Lil Yeti didn't die, but we're going to reset him anyway. There we go. He's back in his spot. And we are undamaged. Not even a scratch. Shouldn't have said that. Shouldn't have said that. But it means we get to do 2 scouts if we can next time. So heading back up to our encounter card here, we did choice number 1. So no bonuses. We get 1 progress, 1 training point, 1 loot. So let me head over and do those maintenance things first. 1 day, 1 training point. So we can now challenge Drellen. And, sorry, not training point, 1 progress. And now a training point. Oh, I forgot to reset this. So, oop. And those go away. And it still looks weird to leave those in between matches, but I'll believe it. We get a training point. So what to do? I think we need to look at maybe health, get some padding in there. So let's do that. That's our 1 training point. So we have to fix it over here. So we now have 7 cheaps underneath, 7 premium health chips, as we've discussed, underneath. I can't feel them here, but what a feeling. And that would be the end of that day and that encounter. All in all, better than I thought. I gotta reset his dice. Boop. Okay, let us move on. I don't think I forgot anything, right? Are we gonna move on an encounter? It's only day 6. We have 10 days to go. Or do we just challenge him right out of the box? It's always the question, right? And I don't believe I'm allowed to pull the encounter card, look at it, and then make that choice. So, we've been streaming for an hour and a half. Okay, you know what? I'm going to challenge him just because I wanted this to be a shorter night anyway. As much as I love doing this, I'm just exhausted. I don't know why, but anyhow, not your problem. That's a me problem. So let's challenge Drellen Paleface. And the way we do that is we're going to go take a look at the back of his card. Battle of the Bog. Place Drellen in lane 1. Draw, bog type baddies have a lot of poison generally. Draw bog type baddies and place in lanes 2 and 3. For a party of 1 and 2, it's 2 1-pointers. Okay, so that's all we need to worry about. Plus our baddie points, although a party of 1 ignores this, so we're not worrying about that. Each moved position in this battle requires 2 decks instead of 1. Well, that's their problem because, well, no, I shouldn't say that. I might have to turn tail and run at some point. So, place Drellen in lane 1, and then 2 1-point bog-type baddies in lanes 2 and 3. Okay, so let's do Drellen's setup first. We are going to drag him to the battlefield. We're going to set him up in lane 1. Taking a quick look at him, he has 8 health. Ouchie, ouchie. He has 5 initiative, so he's fairly quick. He rolls 3 attack, 2 defense, plus his special die, which I will look at in a minute, and he is melee. So let's set him up, and then we'll go look at his special die. There he is. That's a tall stack. Now, his special die is right here. It looks like starting on face 1, we've got a full beaker a full beaker on 2, a full beaker on 3. Oh, a double poison on 4, a double poison on 5, and a double poison. So it's 50-50 chance which of those we're going to roll. So the Tyrant die looking down at the bottom, only if he's adjacent to me. So if I can stay away from him somehow, he's never going to... Hey, that's okay, man. I appreciate you joining in, and I appreciate the advice and the help. It's great to see you in there, and thank you very much for the follow. Have a great night. All right. So his poison enhancer set any existing poison effect dice to 3 on target, which would be me. So if I already have a poison, it's going up to 3. That could kill me very quick because I can't defend against it. Poison 2 is a poison 2. So again, the poison mechanic is the same we've seen before. So that's what he gets to roll every time if he's next to me. So we need to stay away from him. But each time we move is now 2 dexterity. So a lot of choices to be made there. So now I got to set up 2 1-point baddies. So I will manually... Oh, actually, I can do that up here by manually changing it. 5, 4, 3, 2. Now, I should have mentioned I can scout. And I took no damage, so I can scout twice. So let's do that. Mischief 1 rolls 1 attack die. He is melee, so he's going to want to move around. 3 health. You know what? He's staying on top. Now, I wonder if I scout again, am I going to get the same guy? In which case, we'll keep him out and do it again. Nope, we didn't. This is a dire wolf putt. 3 health, 3 initiative, so slow-ish. Only 1 die, and he has lashback 1. That means whenever he's attacked, he's going to hit back for 1 if I'm adjacent to him. And he's he targets the weakest. So you know what? We're returning him to the top as well. So we're going to have to play some positional strategies here, which I am not good at. Let's set them up. Oh, return the chips to the default. Did I do something wrong there? You know what? We're just going to set them up manually. How about that? There. He's going to go in lane 2. And there. He's going to go in lane 3. And now we have to choose where to go. So we want to keep him away from us. Let's look at their initiative. So Drellen, our Tyrant, is the fastest of them, and the other 2 are both 3. So I default to lane 1. Lane 2 goes... Well, he's a 4. I'm sorry, he's a 4. He goes next, so he would go next anyway. And he's slow, so he would go last. I need that 6 roll now. That would have been great. Rolly, rolly, rolly. 4. So we are going to go between Drellen. So Drellen's immediately going to move to head towards us. So we're going to go in between after he's gone. So the smart thing for me to do, having seen that, is to start on our battlefield far away from Drellen, because he can only move twice. So let's go. We'll let the battle music swell. All right, sorry, being goofy. All right, here we go. Drellen. Mr. Drellen is going to move. Now, the nice thing about Too Many Bones is, yes, they're going to move 2 towards me. I can choose which path they take. So he's going to move 1, 2. He gets to do nothing. He's not adjacent to me. He can't roll his attack dice because he's not adjacent to me. But he does get to roll his defense dice. That's just part of the rules. He doesn't have to be next to me to do that. So we're going to roll his 2 defense dice. He's got a bones and a 1. Did he have a bones power? No, he didn't. That's all he gets to do. That's not terrible. So he's going to put 1 defense on himself. I'm going to put it on it for him because I'm a hell of a guy. So he's now got 8 health plus a defense. So I've seen worse. Now, the interesting thing is, if I move, that's going to take 2 of my decks away. And I have a total of 5. So we're going to... No, we're going to stay right there. We are going to target him Now, the interesting rule about Too Many Bones is if you take the Tyrant out, the rest of the baddies that were with him run away. I have played it where we wanted to clear the board, so I mean that's optional, but the rules state kill the Tyrant, game over, you win. So let's target him. There is no break on this guy, thank God, and see what we can do. So he's got a total of 8 health plus a defense, so theoretically we'd need 9, which would be very difficult to get if even with my double damage there. Let's chip away at him. I think that would be the prudent thing to do. So I'm going to roll my 1 defense. I'm going to bring out my Wolverine as some kind of foil, I guess. So that's 2, and 3, 4, 5 is our attacks. And I'm targeting Drellen Paleface. So let's start with our defense roll. Well, it's better than my usual bone, so let's lock that in. It's the first time I've got to lock a defense in. And roll our 3 attack. Big numbers, big numbers. Okay, 3, 1, so the damage is 3. And let's roll our little Petsy Wetsy, our Wolverine Lil Yeti. Again, we got the best roll. Look at that. Okay, so we are going to activate Lil Yeti. We'll put him in an active slot there. And he is going to come on with 3 health. And we're going to put him right there. Maybe that's a bad idea. We're going to put him right here and give him his 3 health. And I think that's going to end. Oh, wait, I got to apply the damage, right? So I've got 3 damage. He has 1 shield, so let's take that shield away. And we're going to apply 2 damage to him, so he's down to 6. Again, we kind of need to stay away from him. But you know what? I should have really. No, that's fine. You can start there. And that'll be the end of my turn. And next up, we're going to have this little guy go right here, our Goblin Rioter, who is going to target Lil Yeti anyway. Let me think about this. Did I do this right? No. We're going to start him here instead of there. Sorry about that. I'm retconning. Hey, Cthulhu. Thanks for joining, man. Sorry, I'm really bad at watching chat at the same time. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. I don't want to say any more than that because in general I will completely jinx myself. So my lighting is really janky, by the way. I've got lights hanging everywhere. Budget streaming, so if I do this, half my face goes away. Kind of weird. Anyway, I'm gonna have a sip of tea. English breakfast, in case anyone's wondering. It's decaf because I read somewhere that caffeine can affect your voice, and my voice does not last as long as it used to many years ago. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. So again, we are it's now this Goblin Rioter's turn, and he's going to target weakest, so he is going to target Lil Yeti. But you know what that does? He gets to move twice. So let's move him. What that does, I love this game for the tactics that you can use. We've basically lured him into blocking Drellen from being able to easily get to us and being adjacent. And Drellen will target everybody, but he's stuck, so he's going to stay there. Unless Yeti is dead, in which case we're in trouble. So, and last, so he is going to attack, so he gets to roll his 1 attack die. So let's go up here and do that. Boop, boop. 1 attack die says 1 damage to Lil Yeti, who's fine. He's got 3 health. He's hardy, and he's still alive. My good old Wolverine, Lil Yeti, best name in Too Many Bones. And if you get the reference, it's funny. Awesome. So he's down to 2 health out of 3. And remember, he does have that hardy skill, so even if he was hit for 2, he's only going to take 1 damage. But once he's done, he's done. Next, we are going to move out a bit, and our Lashback Direwolf Pup is going to go. He targets the weakest, so he's going to make a move towards Lil Yeti again, but he can't get adjacent to him. I just did something wrong. Let me fix that. There we go. Which means he can't attack. He literally does nothing. He can't go anywhere. He doesn't have any defense dice to roll. He has to be adjacent to attack. His turn is over. We move into round 2. And we start all over. Now, super interesting. I don't know at this point, and I know Cthulhu, you don't know, and the gentleman that was just here, who was very helpful, he might have known, but he's going to target whoever's closest. He can move up to 2 spots, but he can't move right now. He would go 1, 2. He would actually be further away. So I would have to see the rules, but I'm pretty sure the rules I've read would say he would do nothing. However, he is going to attack Lil Yeti because he's right there. He can't get to me. He's going to attack Lil Yeti, and he is going to get to roll his terrible, awful Tyrant die because, again, he's adjacent to Lil Yeti, who at the moment, even though he's a companion of mine, is treated as if he were another player. So he's going to roll 3 attack, 2 defense, and his special die. So let's go take care of that. So we're going to clear these away. Awesome mod. Oops. And 3 attack. Let's roll his defense. I'm sorry, that is incorrect. He's already applied 1 defense die. Did I lose that? Didn't he get a defense last time? You know what? I just don't remember. Oh no, I knocked that off. Sorry, when I attacked him. So he does get to roll his 2 defense and 3 attack. Now, I've always played where you can't apply both defense die to him, so he's going to apply the higher of the 2, which means he's now back up to 8 health, including his shield, before we can actually damage. He rolls 3 attack against Lil Yeti, but Lil Yeti is hardy, so he only takes 1 damage, so he's alive by a hair, but now we have to go roll his special dice. So let's zoom in a bit so we can see what happens. And he's going to, any result of this, sadly, is going to apply to Lil Yeti. So 2 poison. Oof. So on our next turn, because Lil Yeti goes before us, that Lil poison is going to kill him right away. But he served his purpose, and now we have to start bolting the hell away. Okay, sorry, Lil Yeti, I got to get a poison die and put it on you. So normally, again, if poison was on me instead of him, on my next turn, I would take 2 immediate poison damage that I can't defend against, even with my defense dice there. And then that would tick down to a 1, and on my next turn I would take 1 damage from poison, and it would tick down to nothing, and it would be moved off. But right now it's on Yeti, and the fact that it's 2 means nothing because he only has 1 health left next time. But that's the end of terrible Drellen Paleface. He's an ugly fella. That's the end of his turn. I never read this, did I? Ages ago, Drellen was banished from Obendar to the poison marshes for reasons no one can or is willing to recall. Excuse me. Instead of perishing, however, Drellen remains alive, face twisted and scarred from extended time in the swamps. He is but skin and bones, yet somehow he thrives in the bog. Gross. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know where this scratchy throat's coming from, but it is what it is. So that's the end of his turn, and now we're going to go. And because we're going, sadly, Lil Yeti is activated. Takes his 2 poison damage, which would make him undead -1. But he gone. So that's kind of sad. But he absorbed a bunch of damage for me, so I can't complain. Now we have to decide what to do, and if you remember on the Tyrant card, it says each move position in this battle requires 2 dexterity instead of 1, so we have a total of 5. I want to keep my distance from him. In order to do that, I'm going to have to move 2 spaces because he's going to move 2. As long as I stay more than 2 away from him, he can't do anything other than yell. I don't know. So sadly, we are going to move 1, 2, which leaves us with just 1 dexterity left. And I think that means I can only roll 1 attack die because I can only have 1 thing to do. And again, I'm targeting him, or maybe I should target him. See if we can. Well, I can't knock him out because he's got 3 health. Jeez. I don't have enough dexterity to move 3 spaces. That would be 6. I only have 5. Not thinking when I was building the character. No, we'll just attack. Oh boy. Let's attack this mischief guy for now with one whole dice, which I'll probably roll a bones because that's what I do. All right, 1 damage, not the end of the world. He's down to 2. My turn is over. Sad part, he's going to move. That's him right here, our Goblin Rioter. He's going to move up to 2 spaces to be adjacent to me, which he does. And he's going to attack with 1 attack dice. So let's do that. And he hits me for 1. I have 1 defense. So I take no damage, and his turn is over. And now we're moving to our Direwolf Pup with Lashback 1, who's going to move 2 spaces to get next to me, adjacent to me. And again, roll 1 attack die, but we don't have a defense this time, so here's hoping for bones. Oh, okay, he rolls a 1. We take a damage. So we're down to 6, and we've gotten a little shorter. Come on, Ghillie, I know you can do it. And that's the end of round 2. We're moving into round 3. One thing I haven't explained for anyone who's watching and is not familiar with the game, there are 5 normal rounds. When you move into the 6th round, I always forget the name of the 6th round. I call it the attrition round. What that symbol means is once we're on round 6, everybody takes 1 true damage at the beginning of each round, meaning you can't defend against it. So I would take a damage, he would take a damage, he would take a damage, and he would take a damage from his health, not from his defense. So we're on round, we're on round 3, and we're starting a whole new round, moving our way to, wow, what did I do there? Okay, Jeff, stop. There we go. Drellen is going to be our first dude to move, and he is going to move 1, 2. He cannot get adjacent to me. He's already used a defense die, so he can't roll another one because he can't get a better roll than a 2. And because he's not adjacent to me, he doesn't get to roll a special die, so that's the end of his turn. However, we are ranged, and we can hit him. So as long as we can survive these attacks, we can slowly plink him down. So now is the time, Ghillie. We are going to roll 1 defense die, because that's all I have in defense. We are going to roll 3 attack die, and we are going to roll our marked enemy and hope we double it. And my target is Drellen Paleface. So let's see what happens. By the way, I apologize. I tend to scoot around in Tabletop Simulator and, you know, do this kind of stuff all the time. I'm trying to lessen that by putting in preset cameras. I'm just not very good at remembering that I did. So sorry. So here, let's clear everything away and do our rolls. 1 defense die. You know what? Let's slot that in because 1 defense is better than no defense. 3 attack die. Come on. Well, we got 3. And if I decide to roll this double damage, that would hit him for 6 out of his 8. We are going to slot this bones because it doesn't cost me anything to do so. Now let's look. If I decide to use my backup plan, I've gotten to split targets. Now what does that do? Select a new target after applying at least 1 die to Ghillie's initial target this turn. Oh, so I'm moving the damage as opposed to replicating the damage, which is what Marked Arrow does. You know what? I forgot about that thing. I tried not to like TTS for a few reasons. I tend not to like, sorry. Perhaps I could try again, but there are so many great games on BGA. Absolutely, and you showed me how good they actually can be. But in my mental ranking, and this is just my opinion, it goes physical board game, TTS, and then BGA. Only because TTS is more true to the physical game with some enhancement, whereas BGA is kind of a completely redone version of the game, and it kind of takes me out of it. Having said that, BGA has its place. I love turn-based games. I don't know many. You taught me a couple of new ones, such as 7 Wonders Architects, which I'm now kind of hooked on. And that's kind of what it is. For streaming, either one's good. It's a different thing. Like on BGA, you can invite people in, and on this I have to kind of set that up ahead of time. But anywho, moving along, let's roll that dice. Now the only thing I don't know. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for agreeing. The only thing I don't know is if I roll this, I know if I get a bones, I don't have to use it. If I roll it and get the good roll, we're going to use it, but it gets exhausted after that. So let's roll. We got it. Double damage. So we're going to get 2, 1 times 2 is 6. So he's going to lose that. So that's 2 out of our 6, and he's going to take 4 damage. That's pretty freaking good. Now, can I survive the attack from these 2 jokers is the question. The first one to go is our Goblin Rioter, who, if my defense isn't all gone, I only have 1 defense anyway, so it's kind of irrelevant. He would take it with that Mischief 1. But he's going to roll 1 attack die, and we'll see where we get. If I can ever afford to get a stream deck, to me it would be really cool to program in all the TTS cameras on them, but then I'll forget where they are anyways. So roll your attack, dude. He hits me for 1, which is going to hit my defense. Bye-bye shield. Oh, he's exhausted. Sorry, I forgot to move Little Yeti's dice. Die. Man. Okay, so there could have been worse conclusions to that. His turn is next. Oh, did I do that in wrong order? Did I accidentally change the order? I did accidentally change the order. So he's gone. Now he's next. This is our Dire Wolf Pup. He's but a puff. Yeah, they look so cool. It's way out of my budget for the moment. Lighting is next. And then finding, I'm forgetting the word, like an overhead arm, kind of like my mic arm, but more designed for being able to hold a cell phone or another camera overhead, so I can actually play some physical games like Final Girl, which I love playing, but I can't do on stream because I don't have the right equipment yet. But definitely it's up there. So all right, so he's going to roll. I have not attacked him yet, so he hasn't been able to use his lashback skill, which is good. But it's not going to matter. If we can take Drellen out, these 2 guys do not matter. So give me some luck, everybody. All right. Anyway, this guy's going to roll 1 die. We'll see what he does. I don't have a defense anymore, so bones. Ah, 1. Okay, so we're going to take another damage. We're down to 5 out of 7, and we're moving to round 4. And everybody is kind of stuck in position unless I move, but I kind of like this. Again, I don't know. I'm sure if anyone was familiar with the game of Too Many Bones, if our Tyrant would actually try and move around, it would take him 3 turns. So I don't know. I don't think so. So that's the way I'm playing it. Yeah, those stream decks are sweet. I noticed Razer came out with one this week that's kind of a copy, but it looks a little bit inferior. I just don't like Elgato's inflated, in my opinion, prices. Like, they have some lighting and some cameras and things that are like double what I can buy an equally good non-Elgato product for. But anyways, people like them, so who am I? Moving into round 4, Drellen is going to go first. He does nothing, but he does get to roll his 2 defense dice. So hopefully he doesn't get a whack. So again, he gets the higher of the 2. So we have to get through that defense. So theoretically, he has 2 health left, and 2. We need to have an attack of at least 4. Rough. That's the end of his turn, though. And now I'm going to go. And once again, I'm pretty much... Oh, sorry, that's exhausted because I used it. I am going to use my multi-arrow because why not? Drellen is my target. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for my total of 5 dexterity, which I can use. So we're doing pretty much the same roll with 1 different die. That is not a good roll. We are going to take the defense because I'd be crazy not to. We got a bones, which lets me, if I wanted to trade in those 3 bones, I get what's called a fortunate discovery, which lets me choose one of my consumable device. I don't know enough, honestly, about what they do. Yeah, wait for a sale. There was actually a good sale here in Canada last Black Friday for Canadian Amazon anyways. You guys get so many better deals down there. Understand that setting a budget for the stream. Well, yeah, like I have I appreciate you being here. I have very few viewers. I'm not an affiliate yet, but I'm plugging away at it. It's hard to get motivated sometimes, but I just got to keep going. So it's definitely not my janky budget setup is good enough for now. I'm very happy with it. I've gotten good performance out of what I have. So, you know, 8-year-old computer, etc., etc. But it's an i7 with 32 gigabytes of RAM. It's just an old video card and that kind of stuff. Easily runs TTS and use Streamlabs. I have to hit you up one day and ask you about Stream Elements and what that adds, but that's a different conversation. So anyways, so we've got 2 damage to apply to Drellen. So all that's going to do, unfortunately, this turn is take away his defense. And then I rolled on my multi-die, multi-shot. I can apply 1 of those dice. So in this case, it doesn't matter because they're both 1s to another enemy. So I'm going to apply it to our, oops, it's not showing you. There we go. Our Goblin Rioter, who I swear I took a health away from. Did I not take a health away from him? I swear we hit him for 1. No, maybe we didn't. No, we didn't. So he's going to lose his 2 health, because, or 1 health, excuse me. I get to apply 1 of those dice to him because why not? So he's down to 2 of 3. Now, unfortunately, it is his turn. So once again, he is going to get to roll 1 attack die and see what he does. That's okay, man. So he's going to damage me for 1, which takes away my shield, my 1 defense die. I was just saying that I don't. Are you streaming right now, dude? Don't pay attention to my channel. I was just saying my janky budget setup is good enough for now with the fact I'm not an affiliate yet. I'm just plugging away until maybe a good thing will happen one day, but if it doesn't, I'm fine with that too. This is just kind of fun for me. So he damages me for 1. I'm down to 5 out of 7, and that's all he does. Oh no, he doesn't damage me. Sorry, I had my shield. And now our lashback donkey, no, what is he? He's a direwolf pup. He's going to go and roll 1 as well. I'm easily distracted in case you can't tell. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. And he's going to hit me. Oh no. He's going to hit me for 2 damage, which brings me down to 3. Oh boy. Okay, well, we're going into round 5. This is sort of a now or never thing. I need to kill Drellen, or we're going to hit that attrition round, and we're all going to start taking damage. Although he, at this point, would die before me, but that's a risk to take. So he's going to go and do nothing, except he is going to get to roll his 2 defense dice again. We don't want him to get any. He got 1. Okay, we need to hit him right now on our turn for a minimum of 3. He's got 2 health left and 1 defense. We need to hit him for 3. This is exhausted. Oh boy. All right, well, I can't give myself free attack dice, so it is what it is. We're rolling 1 defense and 3 attack. We need 3 damage. We got 3 damage. I'm slotting that just for damage, which means his defense dice goes away. 1, 2, game over. We won. Ghillie wins. Ghillie wins, defeats Drellen Paleface, the Tyrant. Wow, that was good. That was really, really tight. It's one thing I love about this game. However, if the rolls are not in your favor, it's just can be a slaughter. But we beat this guy. Man, he's just ugly to look at. I'm not going to show you that anymore. But we were successful, ladies and gents, and I'm very happy with that outcome. That was a fun game. We challenged him a little earlier than my senses told me was reasonable, but we could have used another skill or 2. But in the end, who cares? We won. And that's the one thing I find, thanks man, that I don't know how you would do it, but I've always said that something like Too Many Bones, it seems a little, and this could just be with every board game, but a little anticlimactic when you actually win. There should be something else, like a win card that comes up and says, and you return to the city of Obendar to cheers, and you have free ale all night at the inn, and you're a hero and something, fireworks, I don't know. But in the meantime, we won, and that's just kind of it. we won. But what else are you going to do, right? Because there's lots of stuff on the table, I'm going to bring back my interface of the top menu. And those of you that know Tabletop Simulator know why I'm doing this. We are going to flip the table and look at all these lovely boxes. Look at the trove chest. That's my grail thing. I'll never find one because they're not making them anymore, and they're really expensive to ship. There is no flavor text. No, there isn't, and that's the bummer. Now, I think in the, if I'm not mistaken, the Age of Tyranny, which if I can see the box right there, zoom in on that, that's the campaign mode. So you basically go on and you get to keep some of your skills and you fight multiple tyrants. There is flavor text in between battles for that. But yeah, seriously, I've actually talked to the devs on their Discord and, or designers, sorry, I'm used to the video game world, and mentioned it, and it's not the first time they've heard of it. But anyhow, this is the trove chest. This is exactly designed to fit into a Kallax. It's made out of wood. It has all these drawers to fit all of this stuff in. It is definitely a lifestyle item to purchase. But it would certainly be nice. Yeah, I think they have. I think they have improved it for Elder Scrolls. It would certainly be nice to put all this stuff away. Right now, this isn't, I don't have all of this. I have the Automaton of Shale my wife bought me for my birthday. I have the Age of Tyranny, the base game. I don't have, who is that? Oh, that's the new smaller box, or I don't have that. I have the Gearlock Child. I have Undertow. I have 40 Days. I have Nugget. I have Tink. I have Gasket. I have Ghillie. I don't have Riffle. I've ordered Riffle a long time ago, but they haven't come in yet. And I don't have Lab Rats. There's just a lot, but this thing is so cool. It fits in, and this little dial up here, it's kind of hard to see, is actually metal, and there's magnets here. So you take that magnetic thing and that's what you use to open the doors. It's just luxury to the nth degree, but man, I would just love it one day. But the shipping of it to Canada in particular is cuckoo bananas. I do have some friends in the States that I could ship it to and then go down and visit, but you know, out of the budget right now. Games first, streaming second, luxuries third. Well, no, job first. Anyway, you get it. So let us have some fun and flip this table, boys and boys. Look at that fall away into the netherworld. And this is the scene they chose for this typical mod. It's kind of cool. You're out in the bog or whatever. But I am now going to end the stream right here. Ladies and gentlemen, for anyone that's tuned in, I really appreciate you being here. Cthulhu, thank you so much. If you're watching this on replay, I usually post this the next day on my YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe and follow on my Twitch channel and all that stuff I'm supposed to tell you to do that I don't know what half of it means or does, but just do it. No, I'm kidding. No pressure. I appreciate you just watching. That's good enough. And that's about it. I'm signing off for myself, Dab, the board game noob, and we will see you in another stream soon. And now I'm going to go over and do that weird transition that I always get wrong. Let's see what happens. So I mute my mic. Bye, guys.